Welcome back, and today in Lesson 7 we cover chapters 13 and 14. Chapter 13 deals with flexible budgets and cost variances. We begin by comparing a static budget with the outcomes at the end of the accounting period, with actual outcomes. The difference between expected results and actual performance is called a variance. The master budget is a static budget because it begins with a single target for sales. It is impossible to determine what part of the variances are due to inaccurate forecasting and what part are due to any change in sales, so we need a method to separate those two out. For this purpose, we develop what's called a flexible budget based on the actual level of sales rather than the predicted level. Using this sales number, we adjust all the other budgeted items in 3 steps. Step 1, identify the actual level of production. Step 2, calculate revenues based on budgeted selling price and actual quantity of output. And number 3, calculate the flexible budget for costs based on budgeted variable cost per unit, actual quantity of output, and budgeted fixed costs. Exhibit 12.2 will clear this up a little bit. It shows the process for a sample problem. And you will see the various budgets laid out side by side, and note especially the differences in the variances. As we examine the variances, we are now able to separate the change in profits due to deviations in output from those that reflect operating performance. Note that the variances are labeled as F for favorable and U for unfavorable. To calculate price and efficiency variances, management uses data from 3 sources. First, actual input data from past periods. Second, data from other companies that have similar processes. And lastly, standards developed from experience. The standards are based on work performed by a skilled worker using equipment that is operating efficiently. We have standard inputs, standard prices, and standard costs that are being used by management. Price variances for cost of direct labor and materials allow us to evaluate the performance of respectively the purchasing manager for materials and the human resource manager for labor. Efficiency variances help to evaluate the efficiency with which the inputs are used and to take corrective steps by adjusting production processes or upgrading the skill level of the workers. We now examine the budgeted overhead rates for several pages. We will examine this item in some detail in class. Don't have time to go into it effectively now. The chapter concludes with a discussion of how managers use variances, page 560 and following. Chapter 14 presents strategy and strategic profitability analysis. Strategy consists of how a firm creates value for customers while differentiating itself from competitors. The firm can rethink and redesign their activities to improve the product design, cost, quality, and service. These 3 are the last 3, cost, quality, and service, are basic strategies of which a firm can choose at most 2, or typically only 1. In other words, it's impossible to have the least cost product with the highest quality and the very best service. Those are contradictory, as you can see. The balanced scorecard translates strategy into performance measures that provide a framework for implementing that strategy. Various exhibits model the strategy map, a sort of flow chart showing the interplay of finance, customer satisfaction, internal activities, learning, and growth. These broad linkages are discussed in further detail that we will cover in class. We now look at the features of a good balanced scorecard and some of the pitfalls in implementing one. A strategic analysis of operating income is made based on the operating income is based on such components as growth, price recovery, and productivity. We conclude the chapter with a look at downsizing and the ways of identifying unused capacity and how to respond to that. Well, this looks like an excellent class coming up. It is a little bit challenging, but we will take our time and explore it step by step. Looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Bye-bye.